Have you ever wondered why some people seem to get ahead no matter what, while others struggle to keep up despite working just as hard? It's like it's this invisible system at work, pushing some people forward and holding others back. Think about it. When you're already doing well financially, things tend to get easier. You can afford better healthcare, so you stay healthier. You live in safer neighborhoods with better schools, so your kids get better educations. You have connections to people who can help you with jobs and opportunities. And when you have extra money, you can invest it and watch it grow. But when you're struggling, everything costs more. Yeah, that sounds backward, right? But it's true. If you don't have enough for a security deposit, you end up paying more in rent month after month. If you can afford a reliable car, you spend more on repairs and miss work when it breaks down. If you can pay your credit card in full, you get hit with high interest rates that make everything you buy more expensive. It's like there are two different worlds with two different sets of rules. And the gap between them keeps getting wider. The reality is that financial stability creates more stability, while financial hardship creates more hardship. When someone has a financial cushion, unexpected expenses are just bumps in the road. But without that cushion, those same expenses can trigger a cascade of problems that push people further into difficulty. Consider the difference in everyday financial transactions. Someone with good credit gets better interest rates on loans and credit cards. Someone with limited funds might rely on costly alternatives like payday loans or check cashing services, paying premium fees for basic financial services that others get at minimal cost. This isn't about who works harder or who deserves more. It's about systems that make it easier for some people to build wealth and harder for others to escape poverty. The thing is, these aren't just isolated cases. They part of bigger patterns that affect millions of people. And these patterns have been getting stronger, not weaker, over time. When we look at the numbers, the story becomes even clearer. Since the 1980s, the wealth gap has been growing in many countries around the world. The richest 1% now own more wealth than the bottom 50% combined in many places. And this isn't just happening among the super rich. The divide between the middle class and those struggling financially has been growing too. What is most interesting is how this cycle feeds itself. Small advantages grow into bigger ones. Small disadvantages become harder and harder to overcome. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger with every turn. But why exactly does this happen? What are the mechanics behind this persistent pattern? In the next part, I'll take a closer look at something called the wealth multiplier effect, how having money actually helps you make more money almost automatically. It's one of the biggest reasons the rich keep getting richer, even when they asleep. Let's talk about something powerful that rarely gets enough attention. Money makes money. I am not talking about working for it. I'm talking about your money working for you. When you have extra money, you can put it in investments that grow over time. The stock market, real estate, retirement accounts. These aren't just places to store your cash. They wealth multipliers. Think about this. If you have $10,000 invested and it grows by 7% a year, which is pretty average for the stock market over time, you'll make $700 without lifting a finger. Next year, you're not just earning on your original $10,000, but on that $700 too. And it keeps snowballing. Now, what if you have $100,000 or $1 million? The numbers get huge. The more you start with, the more you make, no extra work required. Meanwhile, if you living paycheck to paycheck, this wealth building tool isn't available to you. You might even be going in the opposite direction, paying interest on debts rather than earning interest on investments. It's not just about investments either. Having money gives you access to better deals everywhere. Wealthy people get fee waivers on bank accounts, special credit card offers, and bulk buying discounts. They have the freedom to wait for sales or buy when prices are lowest rather than when necessity dictates. The wealthy can also afford quality items that last longer, while those with less money often have to buy cheaper versions that wear out quickly and need replacing more often. It's expensive to buy cheap things. Then there's the power of information and education. Those with financial resources can pay for financial advice, subscribe to investment newsletters, or take courses that teach them how to optimize their money. Knowledge about money leads to more money, creating another multiplier effect. Tax systems often benefit those with more wealth too. Investment income is typically taxed at lower rates than wages from work. And there are all kinds of deductions and strategies available to reduce taxes that mainly benefit those with significant assets or businesses. Let us make this concrete with some numbers. Imagine two people. One starts with $1,000 to invest, and the other starts with $100,000. Both earn the same 7% return annually. After 30 years, the first person would have about $7,600. Not bad. They've multiplied their money more than 7 times. But the second person, they have $761,000. That's a gain of $661,000 compared to the first person, this gain of $6,600. And this example assumes both people can leave their money invested the whole time. In reality, the person with less money might need to withdraw their investment early to cover an emergency expense, while the wealthy person can leave their money growing. Access to credit works the same way. Someone with wealth can borrow money at low interest rates to make even more profitable investments. They might get a business loan at 4% to start a company that returns 15% annually. Someone with less money and worse credit might only qualify for high-interest loans that make it harder to get ahead. Even everyday banking creates this multiplier effect. Many banks charge monthly fees if you don't to maintain a minimum balance. So if you have less money, you pay more for basic banking services. If you have more money, you might even get paid through interest-bearing accounts or rewards programs. The result of all these advantages? The gap between the haves and have-nots widens, even if everyone is working equally hard. In fact, many wealthy individuals can stop working entirely and still see their wealth grow faster than someone working full-time at an average job. So when we look at why the rich get richer, a big part of the answer is simply this: the system is designed to multiply wealth for those who already have it. And without access to the same wealth-building tools, those with less money find it increasingly difficult to catch up. The way we think about money can actually change our financial future. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about how our mindset shapes our actions and opportunities. When you grow up around wealth, you absorb certain ideas without even realizing it. You see investing as normal. You expect to own a home someday. You think of education as an investment, not just an expense. These beliefs seem obvious if you are surrounded by them, but they are not universal. On the flip side, growing up with financial stress creates different thought patterns. You might focus more on immediate needs and less on long-term planning. That makes perfect sense when you are dealing with urgent problems. But over time, it can keep you stuck in survival mode rather than building for the future. Think about confidence, too. If you believe you belong in high-paying industries or deserve promotions, you are more likely to apply for them. If you've never seen people like you in those positions, it might not even occur to you to try. There is also the question of financial knowledge. Some people grow up discussing stocks at the dinner table. Others never hear about compound interest or emergency funds. This isn't just about formal education. It's about the everyday conversations and examples that shape our understanding of how money works. Risk tolerance is another big one. Taking smart financial risks can lead to growth, but your willingness to take risks often depends on your safety net. If you know your family could help you out if things go wrong, you might start a business or invest aggressively. Without that backup, even small risks can feel too dangerous. Social networks matter tremendously too. We all heard, it's not what you know. It's who you know. Well, who you know often depends on where you grew up, where you went to school, and what communities you belong to. These connections lead to job opportunities, investment tips, and business partnerships that can dramatically affect your financial trajectory. The most powerful thing about mindset is that it creates cycles. When you expect success, you are more likely to notice and pursue opportunities. When those opportunities pay off, your confidence grows, leading to even more success. The same works in reverse. Expecting roadblocks can make you less likely to try new paths. Research backs this up. Studies show that our beliefs about our own abilities strongly influence what we achieve. People who believe their intelligence and talents can grow through effort, what psychologists call a growth mindset, tend to accomplish more than those who believe their abilities are fixed. The same applies to financial success. If you believe wealth is attainable for you, you are more likely to take the actions that lead to wealth. If you believe the system is completely rigged against you, you might not even try certain wealth-building strategies. Of course, it is not just individual psychology at work here. Our culture sends powerful messages about who deserves to be wealthy and who doesn't. These messages get internalized and affect everything from career choices to spending habits to investing decisions. The media reinforces these ideas too. Images of extreme wealth might make financial success seem completely out of reach for ordinary people. Stories about overnight millionaires can make it seem like luck is all that matters, rather than consistent habits and knowledge. Even the language we use around money shapes our thinking. Phrases like filthy rich or money doesn't grow on trees carry subtle messages about wealth. The wealthy often talk about money in terms of opportunities and freedom, while those struggling often discuss money in terms of stress and limitations. Now, this doesn't mean anyone can just think themselves rich. The structural barriers we talked about earlier are very real, but understanding how mindset affects finances is still important because it is something we can actively work on changing. Consider this. Have you ever noticed how your own beliefs about money affect your financial decisions? Are there any thought patterns that might be holding you back without you realizing it? Write in the comments below the video. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the systems and structures that create different financial realities for different people. Housing is one of the clearest examples. For decades, certain neighborhoods were officially marked as risky for loans, making it nearly impossible for residents to buy homes there. Those neighborhoods didn't magically recover when those policies ended. Property values stayed lower, schools received less funding, and businesses were reluctant to invest there. Meanwhile, other areas saw their home values climb steadily. For the people who could buy in those neighborhoods, their houses became wealth-building machines. They could borrow against that equity to start businesses, pay for college, or invest in more property. Banking works differently depending on where you stand financially too. If you've got money, banks compete for your business with free checking, higher interest rates, and better service. If you're struggling, you face minimum balance requirements, overdraft fees, and monthly service charges that can quickly eat away at limited funds. The job market has its own dividing lines. Stable, well-paying jobs often require degrees that cost a fortune to obtain. Unpaid internships, critical for building experience in many fields, are only realistic options for those who can afford to work for free. And jobs that pay hourly wages typically offer fewer benefits and less security than salaried positions. Healthcare creates another stark divide. Quality care is expensive without good insurance, which is typically tied to higher-paying jobs. Poor health can quickly drain savings and limit earning potential, creating a downward spiral that is hard to escape. Even the justice system works differently based on financial resources. Those who can afford good legal representation face very different outcomes than those who rely on overworked public defenders. Minor legal issues that a wealthy person can easily resolve might significantly derail someone with fewer resources. Tax policies often favor certain types of income over others. Income from investments is typically taxed at lower rates than income from work. Tax breaks for homeowners don't help renters. And complicated tax advantages are most accessible to those who can afford sophisticated financial advice. Political power is another factor. Those with financial resources can influence policies through campaign contributions, lobbying, and even running for office themselves. This means the rules of the economic game are often written by and for those who are already winning. Education systems reinforce these divides too. Public schools in wealthy areas typically have better facilities, more experienced teachers, and more advanced courses than schools in poorer areas. Private schools offer even more advantages to those who can afford them. The result: children from wealthy families often get better educational opportunities, which leads to better colleges and better jobs. These systems aren't just running in parallel, they interconnected. Problems in one area create problems in others. If your neighborhood has poor public transportation, you might need a car to get to work. If you can afford a reliable car, you might miss work and lose income. If you lose income, you might not be able to pay your rent, and so on. The digital divide adds another layer to this problem. As more economic opportunities move online, those without reliable internet access or digital skills fall further behind. From job applications to banking to education, digital access has become essential for financial advancement. International trade and globalization have affected these patterns too. While they created enormous wealth overall, the benefits have been equally distributed. Factory workers have seen jobs disappear while investors in global companies have prospered. Environmental factors play a role as well. Lower-income communities are more likely to face pollution, climate disasters, and other environmental hazards that create health problems and financial instability. All these systems interact and reinforce each other. A disadvantage in one area often creates disadvantages in others, while advantages tend to multiply across different domains. The result is what some economists call a tilted playing field. Everyone might be playing the same game, but the slope of the field makes it much easier for some players to score than others. What is particularly challenging about these systemic issues is that they can persist even when individual people err intentionally discriminating. The systems themselves have built-in biases that keep reproducing unequal outcomes. Understanding these structural forces isn't about assigning blame. It is about recognizing the real forces that shape financial outcomes beyond individual effort or talent. Only by acknowledging these systems can we begin to change them. So where do we go from here? Is this widening gap between rich and poor inevitable, or can we change course? The good news is that both individuals and societies can take steps to create more financial equality. Let us start with what you can do personally, even if the deck seems stacked against you. First, understanding how the system works is powerful. When you recognize the patterns we've been discussing, you can make more strategic decisions. Knowledge truly is power when it comes to finances. Building financial literacy is crucial. Learn about budgeting, investing, credit, and taxes. There are more free resources available now than ever before. Libraries, online courses, podcasts, and community programs. The more you understand about money, the better you can make it work for you, regardless of how much you're starting with. Finding community is another important strategy. Connect with others who are working towards similar financial goals. Share information, resources, and opportunities. Sometimes a group can access opportunities that individuals can't, whether that is bulk purchasing power or shared knowledge about job openings. Being intentional about your financial choices makes a difference too. Even small amounts of saving and investing can grow over time. Prioritizing education and skills that increase your earning potential can change your trajectory. And advocating for yourself, whether negotiating salary or challenging unfair fees, helps ensure you're not leaving money on the table. Mindset shifts matter as well. Believing that financial improvement is possible for you specifically can motivate the actions that make it a reality. Challenging messages that tell you certain financial goals are out of reach for people like you is an important part of breaking cycles of inequality. The wealth gap isn't natural or inevitable. It is the result of specific policies, practices, and patterns that can be changed. And when we work toward a more equal system, everyone benefits, not just those at the bottom. Societies with less extreme inequality tend to have stronger economies, lower crime rates, better health outcomes, and greater innovation. The narrative that extreme inequality is necessary for economic growth simply isn't supported by evidence. Many of the most equal societies are also among the most innovative and prosperous. What is needed is a shift in our collective priorities, recognizing that an economy that works well for everyone is stronger and more sustainable than one that concentrates benefits among a few. This isn't about perfect equality of outcomes. People will always have different talents, interests, and levels of effort. But it is about equality of opportunity, ensuring that everyone has a fair chance to develop their potential and contribute to society. So the next time you hear, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, remember that it is not a law of nature. It is a pattern we can understand, and with deliberate effort, one we can change. Whether through personal financial strategies or collective action for systemic reform, we all have a role to play in creating a future where opportunity and prosperity are within everyone's reach. If you found this video useful, please like it and subscribe to the channel. There are more videos on this channel that will help you become a better version of yourself.